Okay, how are we doing? Man, working has been rough today. So we were talking about chicken gardens. I'm going to talk about softscapes for a little bit. Softscapes are the elements that your chickens will most intimately relate to daily, like your soil amendments, your mulch, edging. Don't use landscape fabrics or synthetic materials, right? Because your chickens will probably tear them up, especially if you use landscape fabric to try to keep the weeds out. Wow, I need to just trim this stuff. Mulch. Deep mulch is the best way to work your weeding problems out with your chicken garden. If you're going to use your landscape fabric and synthetic materials and your edging, use that outside of the coop. Unless you free range your chickens, because they like to scratch, and if they scratch, and they'll eventually get to the bottom of that, and they will tear that up. So don't use landscape fabric underneath your mulching. It'll just save you in the long run. Hardscapes. Consider the permeability of the materials you choose, right? You want the water to flow off, just like your garden needs good runoff, right? You can't expect plants to grow, the plants that you want to grow, if you have a bog. So you want the loose soil. Stone. Use stone for your paths, right? And use fast-growing ground cover around your stones, right? That can protect those stones, give you keep the chickens from scratching them out, digging deep holes underneath your stones. Concrete pavers and bricks. Decking. Don't let your chickens hang out on unsealed decking, right? If you're going to put decking out, make sure it's sealed, because chicken poop is hot, right? So it will actually just destroy the woods. Gravel is your number one choice for pathways. It's the least expensive, durable, provides grit, easy to install. As far as grit goes, I have never put grit with my chickens, and every time I've slaughtered chickens, when I cut the gizzard out, there is grit in there. The cool thing about that gizzard is it will take just the dirt that the chicken consumes and turn it into pebbles. So, whatever you want to do. I don't screw around wasting money on grit. Path should be at least 3 inches deep. It should contain dust, not to be washed rock. Don't use landscape fabric underneath it. Wood chips are good in areas with sensitive tree roots. And the downside is you're going to have to replenish them, because the chickens are going to kick them out. They're going to decay. They're going to compost from the chickens pooping in there. And my chicken run looks like black gold every time I till it up. And I can't wait to get in there here in the fall and till it up and then remove a whole bunch of it so that I can start leveling it out and rebuilding. Irrigation systems for your gardening. Automated with pop-up heads is an option. Soaker hoses plan around grade changes and watch for equal water distribution. If you're using a soaker hose in the garden, make sure that the water is flowing evenly through the garden. Drip irrigation's hard to keep running properly with chickens. It's even harder to do it without chickens. Hand watering is preferred, but it is possible to set things up so that you can drip water and keep those waterers away from where they can be damaged by your poultry. Fencing materials. An opening of 1/2 inch is all a raccoon needs to grab a bird, right? So chicken wire or hardware cloth is best for coops and permanent runs. Hog panels and your gardening wire that allows for predators to snatch birds that decide that they want to sleep out in the run next to the fence. It also allows for snakes to get through. So your materials should be made of metal or wood. Pasture fencing is portable or temporary fencing, like electrified chicken netting, right? It doesn't always work, especially if your netting is placed where it's getting grounded out because there's too much stuff growing into it. Bricks. I mean, if you want to lay bricks for part of your fencing, that's always cool too. Back into plants. So I talked about planting grass. This is one that my mom recommended. It is called Run Replacer, and it has arugula, cilantro, purple top turnips, and organic red mustard. So you could grow this in your run and use it for your chicken food, right? When you're doing that and plants are starting to grow, you need to protect them, right? You got to wire them off, let them get established. This is another one. It's a forage seed mixture. It's called Chicks Mix. Plant, grow, and feast. It has ryegrass, both annual and perennial ryegrass, brown flax, white clover, red clover, rape, alfalfa, Fiona white clover, other crop seed. There is weeds in it. 18 buckhorn plantain. So for forage use, it says, right? So if you want to increase the forage for your chickens with a little a different kind of grass than what's growing at your place. We talked about building a raised bed and putting hardware cloth over the top of it with a lid so you can get in there, right? That way the chickens will mow that grass down or that forage down. It's a treat for them. Again, back to plants. So choose plants that provide as many functions as possible. Aesthetic qualities, soiled building, shade and shelter, a food source, medicine, insect repellent, cleaning and cosmetic properties, windbreaks, wind and fire protection, wildlife habitat, nectar source for pollinators, fuel source. Think about how each plant's characteristics function for us. Because while your chickens are going to use it, ultimately you want to be able to use the stuff that you're growing, right? Soil building plants would be nitrogen fixers, legumes, alder, bayberry, clover, peas, etc. Clover is a legume. Dynamic accumulators would be borage, comfrey, marigold, yarrow. With your habitat plants, think of shelter, food, water, and nesting sites. So for shelter, evergreens and thorny thickets, caneberries, blackberry, raspberry, salmonberry, Darwinberry are 10 feet. They're dense yellow-orange flowers in the spring. Evergreen, small holly-like spiny leaves, dark purple edible fruit. English holly, slow-growing, attractive winter fruit. They're an evergreen. Gooseberry, deciduous shrub, tart edible fruit, thorny stems. Hawthorn, have thorny stems, white flowers, small edible fruits. Japanese barberries are deciduous thorny shrub with yellow flowers in the spring, small edible red fruits. Juniper, evergreen, needle-like leaves. I have junipers growing in my yard and I hate them. Magellan barberry, evergreen shrub with leathery, spiny leaves, yellow flowers, edible fruit, and upright growth. Oregon grapes are an evergreen shrub. They're erect habitat, compound leaves with spiny toothed leaflets, yellow flowers, and purple edible fruit. Rugosa rose is a shrub with prickly stems and large rose hips. Wintergreen barberry, dense, compact shrub with spiny thorns. So those are some ideas for habitat, right? You want to be able to protect your flock. If you're going to grow these, either inside or outside, giving them protection inside the run for predators that might actually get inside is always a good thing, right? So food and forage. Chicken nutritional needs: protein, carbohydrates, fat, minerals, vitamins, enzymes, grit, and they thrive on a variety, right? So with grains, a chicken will consume a bushel a year. Corn, wheat, oats, barley, millet, winter rye, buckwheat, legumes, sunflower, amarnath, chickpea, sorghum, clovers, soybeans. Oh, I have soybeans that grow in a field north of me here, and I've worked out a deal with my neighbor to tractor chickens across his soybean field after harvest. So, free food. Trees: apples, apricot, cherry, cornelian cherries, crab apples, medlar, mountain ash, mulberry, pawpaw, peach, pear, persimmon, plum, and quince. You can grow these trees in your run. I mean, your run's going to require some maintenance, right? But you can actually grow them in your run. Fruit trees require nitrogen to grow, right? Lots of it. So, they provide shelter. Fruit that falls on the ground, the chickens can eat. Just sharing, right? Shrubs: aronia, blueberry, currant, gooseberry, jostaberry, worcesterberry, elderberry, goji berry or wolfberry, hawthorn, honeyberry, raspberry, rugosa rose, Russian olives, Saskatoon berry or serva berry, sea buckhorn or Siberian pea shrubs. If you have pollinators and you plant these, I mean, the fact that you have pollinators, we keep bees. There are, my wife has 6 hives right now. And my crab apples and mulberry tree are covered in pollinators when they flower. And it makes beautiful, beautiful amber honey. And later in the fall, when they're harvesting honey off of different things, that honey gets a deeper color. So, vegetables: bird's foot, broadleaf, trefoil, used in pastures and grass mixes, chard, chickweed, chicory, clover, cowpea, corn salad, dandelion, dock, flax, lamb's quarters, lettuce and mustards, plantain, purslane, shepherd's purse, sorghum. Plant stuff in your chicken coop that you can rotate, right? So I got spring planting here and I got winter planting here. Your chickens, when you're ready to rotate your crops, you just turn them loose and let them eat everything, right? Instead of keeping them off of it, you can set your run up to where you can give them access to certain areas during certain times of the year, and they will clean it up. They'll tear all the roots and stuff out while they're digging around in there. They'll eat all the plants, and then that gives you that much less work that you got to do when you're pulling stuff out, getting ready to plant your next crop for the winter. Vines. So with vines, you need to protect it at the base so that the chickens don't scratch the roots. You can do that with just simple garden wire, right? Akebia, kiwi, grape, magnolia vines, peas, squash. My chickens love squash, butternut squash. I feed my abundance to them regularly, and it takes them no time to clean it up. Catnip or catmint, great for aphids. I planted those around my tomatoes this year, and they attract hoverflies, which love aphids. I didn't see any aphids on my cabbage. It was growing underneath the catnip. Chickweed, comfrey, feverfew, lavender, nasturtium. Chickens love nasturtiums. So if you want to grow nasturtiums, and then as they get out of control, you cut them back and just give them the vine that you cut off. They'll eat it. When you're ready to pull them, because they're an annual, just let the chickens tear them out for you. Nettle. We're pushing 20 minutes here, so I'm gonna hold off on anything else for now. But if you have questions or comments, or you want to share anything, please, by all means, leave a comment. I will respond. I appreciate you taking the time. And this fall, then we'll start prepping my coop here, and I will give you the day-to-day on how we're doing it. And just remember, Plant your water first.